Thank you, guys. So I'm delighted to be joined by Jon, Seema and Joe. So thank you, guys. I think you're all fairly well known to our audience, but for the benefit of those who don't know you, would you mind introducing yourself and your company briefly? Joe, do you want to kick us off?
I'll go first. I would say, hi, I'm Jo Adams. I am the marketing director for New Scientist. I'm a newbie. I've only been there 4 months, but I've actually been in the heady world of subscriptions for about 19 years. We are a science and technology brand. We do not define ourselves as a magazine or digital. We are a brand. And we have just under 125,000 circulation. We have 7.5 million visitors or followers. And we also have a growing events business as well.
Fantastic. Jon?
I'm Jon Bickley. I'm the chief exec at Anthem Publishing. I did dabble in subs years ago, but I've got some good dedicated subs people now, but I'm fully briefed on what I do. We publish music magazines, food magazines, and just sort of women's health and interest titles now. Our portfolio's changing as we speak, so might come on to that a little bit later.
Okay. Seema?
Hi everyone, I'm Seema Kumari, Digital Marketing Director at Hearst. So I'm responsible for acquisitions, e-commerce. Can you hear me properly?
Yep.
E-commerce, customer experience and CRM, and that's across our 17 brands.
Perfect, thank you. So I just wanted to kick off with a question. Based on the slide at the start and the increasing importance of subscriptions, we are often hearing about the challenges in retail and how increasingly important subscriptions and memberships are. I just wanted to ask, how do you feel the magazine and subscription landscape has changed over the last couple of years, and how have you responded to that as a company? Joe, do you want to?
Yeah. I'm lucky enough to have been in the industry for quite a long time, so when nobody really cared about subscriptions, and it was all about newsstand. And there's been a significant shift for a number of years. I think about 10 years ago, newsstand was declining at 8%. Certainly the businesses that I've worked in have had an increased interest in subscriptions. And for the New Scientist, it is the largest part of the P&L, so it is the number one focus for the business.
Jon?
I think we've got more of a mixed view. 2 of our biggest newsstand titles we launched in the last 3 years, one of them this year. So we're lucky enough that we're quite involved in both the food and the health markets, which Hitwise we're highlighting as of growing trends. So we've had big success with both vegan titles, well, particularly vegan titles, gluten-free. We've just bought women's running magazines, so that sort of has given us newsstand presence, but equally Vegan Food and Living's are, up until we bought Women's Running, our biggest subscriptions title. So I think it's about what you do in the markets. But that said, subs, I think probably 4 or 5 years ago were maybe 10 or 15% of our turnover, and now alongside direct sales is probably 25%. So it's of growing importance for us as well.
Does that change the makeup of a team at all, or is there an increase?
Yeah, we used to have 1 marketing person probably 2 years ago. Now we've got 4, plus actually the one who was the one before working from home 3 days a week. So a lot more marketing people.
Yeah. Seema?
Yeah, so subs for Hearst, extremely important. It's one of the few departments in the company that's actually growing year on year, which is brilliant. And I think for us, it's been a number of changes. So I think from a customer point of view, we've become very customer-centric as opposed to business-centric. So one of the big changes that we've undergone in the last 12 months is having an omni-channel approach. So by omni-channel, I mean if somebody picks up a magazine, they'll see the same offer on our website, on the agent sites. And actually that was quite a big move for us, because in the past we had the best offer in the magazine, the most expensive offer on web agents, which actually sounds really nuts now I'm talking about it. But we wanted our customers to be able to subscribe at any time via whichever channel and everything be consistent. And we've finally done that, but it's taken a long time.
Brilliant. And in light of the changes, what are your current pricing strategies, or what's the current subscription strategy? So is it sort of a volume growth game or a focus on subscription yields and revenue? I think, Joe, you were saying that there's been quite a change with that recently.
We actually made a conscious effort to stop the 12 for 12. And part of that reason was because of high churn. But also it was attracting the kind of wrong kind of customer and I think sending out the wrong message. So we put up a hard paywall in November last year. And we did feel the effect of it, but we've seen a shift in traffic and it's kind of the right traffic and we've seen an increase in conversion. So has that had an impact on new subscriptions? Yes, it has, but has it had a negative impact on the revenue? No, it hasn't. So we've had a little bit of a wobble, but for the last 3 months, it's been a 5% increase in cash, 10% increase in cash, and August was a 18% increase in cash coming through. So, and then that is in turn seen in a slight improvement in churn. So, yeah, it's the right thing to do.
Brilliant. And Jon, does it vary by title or?
It tends to be vary by life cycle. So mature titles or mature subscriptions, probably a 30% discount, 25 to 30%. With launches or growth titles, we'll have trials, which are maybe 5 for 5 or 3 for 5. We don't do subs for vanity or for advertisers, so everything has to make a profit. I've been persuaded to have a longer timeline on that, so 2 years rather than 1 year. But equally with the purchase of Women's Running, I think there was more of a legacy there of pricing for volume. So we've inherited a lot of stuff that's maybe £1.50 per issue or £1.80. So we've got a challenge to try and increase the yield on those subscriptions.
Yep. Seema?
Yeah, very similar to Joe actually. So Hearst have been on quite a journey. So I'd say 5 years ago it was all about profit, the good old 12 for 12s with the £60 free gift. And then we had a bit of a turn, and yes, we saw a drop in volume, but a huge increase and spike in profit, which has grown actually year on year. And now we're at the point where we're thinking it's volume for profit. So we're all for that volume, but as long as it's profitable. And because we've got the right pricing strategy and a lot of work goes into those right prices, we're getting there. So yeah. Slung around.
And within those strategies, or I suppose in some cases separately to that, where does digital and digital editions sit for everyone? I think everyone has quite different views on that, so it'd be interesting to hear. So Jo, where does digital sit?
Well, I said, the base subscriptions, 84,000, 84,500, 54% of it's made up of print. But we are seeing a shift. Bundle subscriptions are increasing, and that's a tendency to be because of two things. We are actively promoting the bundle. We want more people to engage in the digital products, and we will move over the next 12 months to be a digital first. And also because of the pricing strategy that we have pushes people to take the bundle. So we, like I said at the beginning, we don't necessarily see ourselves as a print or a digital product. We are a science and technology brand, and so we offer quality content across all platforms for everybody to enjoy. So we don't single one out.
Yep. And because of the hard paywall now, it is a subscription that is website, mobile edition and the print one. And
yes, that's the bundle. Or you can just have the digital, or you can just have the print and the web. It's entirely up to you.
And Jon, how about Anthem?
Yeah, for us, they're quite distinct audiences at the moment. We've tried bundles and we had such a low uptake, and we turned it off for a couple of our music brands maybe a year ago, and we had no acknowledgement or complaint, so it was quite strange. Well, they were sort of giving it free, actually. Yeah. And then with another brand, we tried to have it as an add-on and got no traction with that. But we do have a lot of effort focused on selling pure play digital subs, and that's very successful for us. And also in single issue, we do like back issue sales, which can be really successful, and we piggyback on all the Pocket Mags promotions as well, which tend to do really well for us.
Yeah, absolutely. And Seema?
Yeah, so we were talking about this earlier. So for us, it is all about print. We have tried digital like yourselves. So 4 years ago, we gave it a big push, the good old bundle and digital edition. And our audience just doesn't want it. So we work with all the shop fronts who, it works for us, but we don't have anyone dedicated pushing digital editions. And we know when we offer the choice to our consumers, 99% will still choose print over digital. So yeah, it's ticking along, but is it a focus? Nah.
Yeah. And leading on to that, in terms of where your focuses are, looking more broadly nowadays, brands now tend to be so much more than just the regular edition. What are the brand offshoots and extensions which everyone has? So, and how do they work with the magazine? Is it a way to reach new audiences or increase monetization of existing audiences? I'll start with Seema, just because where we ended on the focus is.
Yeah, so I don't know how many of you shop in DFS, but we have sofas for Country Living and House Beautiful. We have carpets at Carpetright, flowers available. We have houses, for God's sake, that you can buy for House Beautiful. But because everything's set up in silos, like you have in large organisations, we don't know who those customers are, and it gets me very frustrated because we sell a few thousand sofas. It's actually DFS's best sellers, our sofas. You walk in, it's all branded with Country Living House Beautiful, but we don't know who those customers are. There's no way to get a sub in there. So we're even saying they can have it for free, we just want data. So that's, I think, a classic example of where we've got some great extensions, but it's not working for us as a business. It's actually helping other businesses.
Yeah.
But from an internal point of view, we launched beauty boxes last year. So it was just a few of us in the room, and we thought, we've got the audience, we have the content, we have the brands, and actually if Glossy Box can do it without all of those, why can't we do it? So we did.
Yep.
And yeah, it's been really successful. So go to our website, we've launched our first advent calendar, it's amazing, ladies. So,
I should also add it's on your
yeah, and it's been a great learning curve for us, but really exciting as well.
Brilliant. And in terms of, if you sort of have access to that data now, in terms of the audience, is it introducing new audiences to those brands that otherwise might not be buying magazines, or is it looking at existing audiences and saying this is there now, or both?
So 65% of sales have been from subscribers, which is actually a lot more than we expected. And of those, I'd say 40% have purchased more than one box. So actually what we're finding is that they love the box, but they'll also buy a Good Housekeeping and a Red or a Cosmo. So yeah,
Perfect.
it's going well. And 35% obviously have been a new audience.
Brilliant. And John, what about Anthem?
One of the biggest things we've done over the last 12 months, probably 9 months even, is with our classic pop and vintage rock specials. We've stolen an idea from Patrick Napier from Rock Sound, or he generously offered it, where we do sort of fan packs or magazine packs where, yeah, we might do an Elvis special, but now we do an Elvis special with 4 art cards and charge 15 quid for it instead of £8. And that's just a massive part of our business now. And Cara, who's sat over there, pretty much full-time just selling single-issue specials. And that'll be, I think, a 6-figure turnover this year from like tens of thousands last year. So that's quite a transformational thing. And then separately, we've got someone dedicated to live events. It's been an expensive learning process so far, but we're getting there. Where I think last year we tried to do quite a big traditional type event, but we've evolved into more exaggerated reader events, and probably the most successful thing we've done over the summer was a vegan catwalk show at the Truman Brewery, which has more sort of pitfalls than you'd imagine, not to the extent of the glue that you stick things to the wall with. But that was, interestingly, pretty much all new people to us, found through Instagram rather than through our own media. So it's introducing different audiences to the company and maybe different ideas of brands that we can do beyond just the event.
Yeah. And Joe, what about New Scientist?
Yeah, I feel your pain. I've had the pleasure of working in big businesses with lots of brands, 46 plus, and it's incredibly difficult to practice joined-up writing with them. I'm now lucky to be on a single brand, which it's heaven. It is heaven, I have to say. And so that means that we can actually branch out into lots of exciting things. So we are one brand. We have New Scientist Live, which we've just done in its 3rd year this year. And that has been a fantastic success. Every year it just gets better and better. We do practice joined-up writing. My team, the marketing team, I work across all of the different brand extensions. We work on the recruitment side to push the commercial advertising. We work on the collections, and we have an active part, play an active part in the product development. So it's been a long time coming. I'm loving it.
Brilliant. And the event now is pretty huge for New Scientist, isn't it? You were saying recently that it was
Yeah,
a huge success.
we had 40,000 people, which 10k up on last year in September, and the sole focus was, apart from selling exhibition stands, etc., it was on selling subscriptions. And so last year we sold 289 subscriptions. This year we sold 1,300, and so quadrupled them, and it was fantastic. The stand looked amazing, but what we did was we're adding value. So we filmed all of the talks and are releasing them towards the end of October just for subscribers. So now we have something else to go to market to, and we put them behind the paywall. So it was a huge success, but that's where it's just integrated into subscriptions is a huge focus. So what other elements of the business can help us drive those as well?
Yeah. We may already have sort of touched upon this question, but what have been the major strategic changes that you guys have made in your title or portfolio in the last year or so, and how were they chosen, and how are you measuring success? So, Joe, do you want to?
I wasn't there. I think some of the decisions were just made because that's what people do. It was, I think we've all had one of those, like, we should just do this. So the hard paywall went up back in November, and the price increase was all made before my time. But the thinking behind that was more of the, we have a quality product and people will pay for it. We do not have to sell it cheap, pile it high and sell it cheap. And as I said, it was the right thing to do. The marketing approach to that, I don't think we've caught up with yet. We haven't responded particularly well to dip in social traffic but increase in organic. So we need to do a bit of work around there. And we haven't got enough tracking in terms of the kind of behavioural stats as such. But that will all come. So it's been a very steep learning curve. But I wouldn't shy away from price increases and believing in the price of your brand.
Yeah. No, it's a great success story for hard paywalls, because early on they were a bit of a scary thing, but it does seem to be increasingly happening and working, which is great. John, what about Anne?
Strategically, we've probably pivoted more towards this female health, mindfulness interest as our sort of biggest part of the company. Probably, as I said before, 5 years ago, we were very much a music company with some other stuff. Veganism has been a huge growth area for us. We've got 3 different vegan magazines, an event, a dating site. It's quite small, so there's a lot there, and buying the women's running has really just helped round out that side of the portfolio.
Yeah. Seema?
Yeah, so I think pricing's been really key for us. Surprisingly, we've actually increased the price of our subscriptions and grown subscriptions at the same time. So that was nice. So we're going to continue going and see how much we can get away with. Obviously, I mentioned omni-channel, which has been really key for us. And one thing we've now started doing is stop being obsessed by channel and volume CPAs and looking at it as a blended CPA, so total acquisitions over total spend, which actually I think allows people to think big picture, because when you're restricted to a CPA, you're only going to think of the activity that allows you to do it within that given amount. So straight away, we're thinking big picture, ambition, just by not getting caught up in the detail.
Yeah, great. Has anyone got any surprise successes or failures in the last year or so that you'd be willing to share and potentially share any learnings from? Because it's always useful to get practical tips from the day. So is there anyone, John, I think the vinyl...
Well, I did my hard paywall and price increase, don't shy away from it.
Do hard paywalls?
Paywall it is.
Our biggest success has been the single issue thing. It's a whole new business for us, really.
Seema?
Yeah, increasing prices hasn't been as depressing as we thought. So.